What a transfer window it's been for Chelsea. They broke the British record to sign Enzo Fernandez on deadline day. It brought their spending to more than £323 million for the whole window. Not everybody, though, got their dream move. Hakim Ziyech's transfer to PSG collapsed at the last minute, leaving the player furious. Jamie Weir's at Stamford Bridge for us this afternoon. Jamie, good afternoon to you. Chelsea officially confirmed the Fernandez deal was done this morning. So could he play in the live Friday night football against Fulham?
Well, there's absolutely no reason he couldn't, Nick. He is registered as a Chelsea player. As you said, they've confirmed it, the most expensive signing in British transfer history. There's a sign-up over there just detailing that next fixture, that big West London derby on Friday night. And, of course, it was just a few weeks ago that they played at Craven Cottage and Fulham got the better of Chelsea on that occasion. I think I'm about to be run down by a truck here, so just bear with me 1 second. The wonders of live television. There you go. Nice advert for a certain parcel service, courier delivery service. There we go. He's off. I think I might be about to get mowed down any second again. Anyway, Enzo Fernandez, let's get back to him. That'll be a question for Graham Potter when he faces the media later this week as to whether Enzo Fernandez does play in that big Friday night West London derby, because the only issue is that he won't have that much time with the Chelsea squad. He is still, as things stand, in Lisbon. He'll be taking off around about any moment now, to be honest, landing at an airfield in Surrey in a couple of hours' time, around about 3:30, at which point we imagine he'll be whisked to Chelsea's training ground to do all the in-house media, the interview saying how delighted he is to join the club, the photos posing with the shirt, all that kind of business, before he meets Graham Potter, meets perhaps the rest of the squad, but he'll only get one training session, and that'll be tomorrow before that Friday night match. So will Graham Potter deem him ready to be thrown straight into the fiery atmosphere of a West London derby at Stamford Bridge? I don't know. That will be a question for the Chelsea boss when we speak to him tomorrow. But certainly Enzo Fernandez is a Chelsea player, the most expensive transfer in British transfer history, £106.5 million, a staggering amount of money for a player who only left River Plate to join Benfica 6 months ago. But the Chelsea fans, I'm sure, are delighted with the business that they've done in this month of January, a whopping amount of money spent. And for Graham Potter, the trying to keep all those players happy, that business starts now.
Other brands of delivery van are available to try and knock you down, Jamie. But while you're still standing, let's talk about Ziyech's deadline move to PSG, not ratified after a late submission of documents from Chelsea. If this is the full story, it doesn't sound very clever.
It's one of those just staggering transfer deadline day stories, isn't it? It has a touch of the Peter Odemwingies about it, but in this case, Hakim Ziyech was, in his eyes, ready to join Paris Saint-Germain. He was in Paris, he still is in Paris, and you used that word at the top of the show there, incandescent. He is incandescent that Chelsea did not hold up their end of the bargain. He was in Paris from lunchtime yesterday. He was texting Todd Bowley saying, look, get this done, I want to get this over the line. Paris Saint-Germain were phoning Chelsea, getting no answer, phoning them again. Chelsea were sending the wrong forms through, and eventually 11 o'clock came and went, and Hakim Ziyech was not registered in time. So he is, as things stand, still stranded in Paris. He will presumably be making his way back to London at some point, but some of the quotes from my colleague Kaveh Solikol that we've been running today, PSG are not happy. They've been saying last night was an absolute shambles. Chelsea will not darken PSG's doorstep ever again. This is not how you do business or treat a player. And look, a lot of people have been quick to point out in January that it's been very clever, some of the business that Chelsea have done, but a lot of people have also said it's been pretty scattergun and pretty shambolic, and this instance with Hakim Ziyech certainly seems pretty shambolic.
It does, and Kaveh Solikol with us in the next hour or so to give us the full inside story, which he seems to have uncovered. In the meantime, the question is, what happens to Ziyech now, Jamie?
Yeah, what indeed? I mean, does he still feature in Graham Potter's plans for the next 4 months? And if he does, Graham Potter has a job in his hand to give the old proverbial arm around the shoulder and make him feel as if he's part of the squad again. Because from Ziyech's point of view, he was ready to join Paris Saint-Germain, and he is absolutely furious that he wasn't allowed to because Chelsea didn't get the paperwork done in time and weren't answering the phone. So look, does he still feature in Graham Potter's squad for the next 4 months? If he does, the manager has a job in his hand making him feel part of that squad. They've got 33 players now in that squad, Chelsea, and all Premier League squads have to submit their squad of 25 to the Premier League by tonight. Now, that's not quite the full story because under 21 players count above and beyond that 25, and 9 of that 33 are counted as under 21 players. So Chelsea don't need to cut anyone from their squad, but of course you can only have 11 players on the pitch at any given moment, and they've got 3 times that amount of players. So how do you keep all those players happy? How do you keep all those egos happy? And that is the job that Graham Potter now has.
Jamie Weir still standing just at Stamford Bridge. Thanks very much. Enzo Fernandez becomes Chelsea's 8th signing of the window on an 8.5-year deal. Their spending for January alone reached more than £323 million. That is more than Serie A, La Liga, the Bundesliga and Liga put together by one club. So how have they managed to avoid FFP sanctions?
It's a high-risk, potentially high-reward strategy of securing players on long-term deals. This means that for FFP purposes, the costs of the players are much lower than perhaps people would have anticipated. So if Fernandez comes in on a £105 million deal over 8 years, that only works out as around about £13 million a year from an FFP perspective. The downside of that is that if the players don't turn out to be as good as expected, you're then locked into long-term wage commitments, which could cause problems further down the line.